Minutes before this, I was reading, my back against the armrest, my legs stretched out before me on the couch. The book was in my lap. While reading, I will admit to nodding off on occasion. This is in no way meant to be a criticism of the book, as the book fulfills all the requirements of a book. It is engaging, it is well written, the characters are relatable in some way, or despicable in some way, and I routinely see myself in them, for good or ill. So no, it is not the book that is to blame. I think that it is simply human nature to lose consciousness in moments of stillness, as if we are only alive in movement, as if we cannot grapple with the immensity of stillness, so we must disconnect. We cannot be consciously still for too long. It was in that moment of rejecting stillness, when my head dropped and snapped back up mid-sentence, that I heard it. Footsteps. In the stairwell outside my door. Now, this is not an unusual occurrence by any means. This is, after all, a lively apartment building. There are footsteps, young and old, on the stairs at all hours of the day and night. Quick, tiny footsteps that can barely clear the lip of each successive stair. Older footsteps that must make at least 2 attempts to move up one. It is, I mean to say, the totality of life in a day's ascents and descents. The riddle of the Sphinx, tapped out, percussive, at times rhythmic and at others arrhythmic, in the stairwell just outside my door. I do not mind the sounds, quite the contrary. Some might consider it noise, which arguably it is, and then go on to make the grave mistake of conflating noise with nuisance. Though both words seem to emanate from the same Latin root, meaning to cause harm, they couldn't be more different. Existence is noise. To be enraged by noise is to stand in opposition to life itself. I'm thinking about the glass of water on the table next to me. I'm thinking about emptying it and pressing it to the door and listening through it. They say that this works, that there is logic and science behind it, but I've never fully believed it. I always thought it was much like hearing the ocean in a seashell, a trick of the senses where the roar of the ocean is heard in the rushing of one's own blood. I have never seen the ocean, but as a child I did have a seashell that I would press against my ear and dream. Which raises the question, did I actually hear those footsteps, or did I only hear them in a dream, in the split second between my head dropping toward my chest and snapping back up? And if I were to dream of footsteps, whose footsteps would they be? My mother's, as she came to tuck me in? My father's, when he woke me for church? Mine, from the first room I rented in a small duplex apartment downtown, a room accessible only via a treacherous series of witch stairs, stairs that are smaller and misaligned so as to save space. Was it a dream of those first few formative years on my own? Nights when I would bound up them drunk, stifling a hoot, a scream, as I imagined them to be boulders on the side of a holy mountain, as I imagined my footfalls guided by an unknown spirit. Was this a dream of the promise of youth? No, I never dream of such things. When my landlord showed me those awkward, treacherous steps for the first time, she told me that they were called witch stairs, because legend has it that witches cannot climb these staggered steps. I felt safe that first night. My dreams were free of shadows. No, this was not a dream. They say that dreaming of stairs is a sign of personal growth, and I can definitively say that I have not grown one bit since taking this apartment. And still, those footsteps. As I said, I'm no stranger to noises in the stairwell. I consider these footsteps to be friends. I know that Miss Mirabeau, for instance, can take a full 5 minutes on one flight of stairs, but that is only on her bad days. I know that young Paul Prynne from upstairs takes his steps 2 at a time, thereby reducing a 12-stair flight to 6. I know he waits at the landing outside my door for his mother to catch up. I know all of this without ever having seen their faces. I could pass them on the street and not know them as my neighbors. Outside, I would not know their footsteps because concrete absorbs our sounds and the crowds rob us of our echoes. On the streets, we are one of thousands. Only in a stairwell are we individuals. So, back to the matter at hand. Who did those footsteps belong to? I don't know. And that is what has unsettled me. What's more, they stopped mid-flight and are still stopped, frozen in time. I counted 6 heavy steps, 6 unknown heavy steps leading to my landing. And it is like It is like a melody in your head that will not resolve itself. I just keep going over the 6 steps in my mind. I cannot think of anything else. I am trapped in a moment, in that pause in a person's ascent. Perhaps it's a lost delivery person trying to get his bearings. If I open the door, there he might be, head in hand, searching through an order form for an apartment that doesn't exist. Or maybe it's a guest of one of the apartments upstairs, stopping mid-staircase to check their phone, to scroll through email. Perhaps it's an assassin, sharpening his knife, plotting my death. It is brutal, the way the unknown can invade even our most private, most curated moments, how it can unsettle routine, destroy even the notion of safety and predictability. If I opened that door and beheld a stranger, that would be upsetting enough. But if I opened the door and no one was there, 6 footsteps only. The presence in the stairwell did not advance or retreat. There it stands, waiting for something. And the echo of the 6 footsteps are like a record skipping outside of my locked room. I cannot reach it, cannot move the needle to the next groove. Madness, terror, they have found me, even here, in this anticipation, this silence. For years now, I've followed the predictable path of life out in the world using only what I've heard through my door. I have heard my neighbors laugh and fight and grow old. I have heard marriages end and families begin. All things resolve, but not these steps. And so I am trapped too, in this moment between beginning and ending, life and death. I am the person on the couch, but I am also with that presence on the 6th step. We are stasis. We are potential. We are not entirely here.